Ha, ha, ha. हेलो टू एवरीवन। भाई घड़ी देखो, पहले घड़ी देखो। 9 बजे का टाइम दिया था और 9 बजे शार्प, नॉट 8:59, not 9:01, but 9 sharp. We are in front of you, my dear friends. Thank you so much for joining us on a brand new episode of 420 grams. आज जी त्रिदेव आपके सामने आए हैं। त्रिदेव आपके सामने आया है तो आपको पता है टॉपिक क्या होने वाला है। हाँ जी, हम बात करेंगे एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की, क्योंकि भाई बात करने के लिए बहुत कुछ मिलता है हमें यहाँ पे। जयदीप बासु is in the house, Siddhant Ani is in the house. Gentlemen, good to see the two of you. How have you been, Jaydeep sir?
Fine. So far, so good.
Hmm.
From the personal front, yeah, fine. Mumbai
Bhai,
City has won. That's a good news.
Historic.
Mohan Bagan, historic. I don't know, but yeah, in this tournament, and Mohan Bagan have also won. That's it. Mohan Bagan, of course, that was a very one-sided affair, but it's good. Indian club teams are winning. It looked good.
एनी भाई, आप महाराष्ट्र में हो तो मैं आपको आणे करके बुलाऊंगा, क्योंकि वो आपका असलची नाम है। हैं? काय झाला? क्या हो रहा है?
कुछ खास नहीं हो रहा। I'm looking forward to this conversation.
भाई आप तो आज मक्खन ब्रेड लगा के आप तैयार होके आए हो, तंबू लगा के आए हो, आप पूरी ऑल नाइटर मारने आए हो। मैं जानता हूँ आपको अच्छी तरह। I'll tell you what, for all the people, and I'm pardon my ignorance, but so that it's a wholesome chat, I'm going to set it up for you first. जी बात हो रही है ऑल इंडिया फुटबॉल फेडरेशन की, और हाल ही में द लेटेस्ट जो हुआ है is that the sports ministry has said that the all India football federation and the office bearers, sports ministry, right Jaideep sir, if I'm going wrong somewhere, please
yes, you're right, you're absolutely right. Absolutely.
They have said that the office bearers of the All India Football Federation are not supposed to be there, right? They have no right in being there because their term came to an end in December 2020. That's when the elections were supposed to be held. Now, the sports code, which supposedly they're supposed to follow, but they're not following as yet. You see, there's a twist over there. Now, the sports code said that if you do two terms as president or at an office, three terms as an office bearer, then you cannot do any more. तो आपको छोड़ना पड़ेगा. And also it says that if you're a politician, I don't think you're allowed to be, a part of a sports federation. So according to the sports code, no sir.
No, ऐसा कुछ
नहीं है.
ऐसा कुछ
As you can see, तैयारी कौन करके आया है और कौन नहीं करके आया है. But हाल ही में चलो ये बात हुई है कि they have no right to hold, to be office bearers and to be making decisions with regards to Indian football and to be executing those decisions under the name of the All India Football Federation. Now, the All India Football Federation, in effect, then said, देखो जी हमने क्या किया है, हमने petition डाली थी to जो स्पोर्ट्स कोड है, जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है, इससे पहले जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन था उसको अमेंड किया जाए और स्पोर्ट्स कोड के उसमें लाया जाए. उसको उन्होंने सुप्रीम कोर्ट में डाला. सर व्हेन, व्हिच वाज द 2020 अगेन, दे पुट इट अ पिटिशन नवंबर 2020. टाइमिंग देखो जी, दिसंबर 2020 में इलेक्शंस होने थे, नवंबर 2020 में उन्होंने डाल दिया पिटिशन वहां पे कि जी आप हमारा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमेंड करो. बिकॉज अभी तो आप पुराने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, इफ यू से बाय बुक, अभी क्या चल रहा है, पुराना कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन चल रहा है. पुराना कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन जिसमें प्रियरंजन दास मुंशी जी कितने साल से प्रेसिडेंट बने हुए थे, जिसमें इफ पुराना कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज अवेलेबल एंड यू आर अडहियरिंग टू द ओल्ड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, देन प्रफुल पटेल कैन स्टैंड अगेन for presidency of the All India Football Federation.
No.
The old constitution. I'm not saying sports code.
Even the old constitution, the AIFF old constitution, the present constitution, which is often quoted by the AIFF officials while writing letters, it clearly says that a treasurer or a principal office bearer of the AIFF, which means the president and the treasurer, they are not allowed to go beyond 70 years and beyond three terms. That's all. If they want to go for another term, then there will have to be a 4 years of gap, which has been incorporated from the sports code, which is a part of the sports code. Okay. It is there in that.
Twist उन्होंने डाल दिया कि वो डाल दिया amendment अंदर सुप्रीम कोर्ट को कि आप हमारा उसको
there are certain aspects of the sports code which has not been followed by the AIFF, so it has to be incorporated. That's all.
It has to be incorporated, exactly. Now twist ये आई है कि जो जिस चीज की आपने अर्जी डाली नवंबर 2020 में, हम यहाँ पे बातचीत कर रहे हैं अप्रैल 2022 में, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अभी तक तारीख दी नहीं है, तो उसकी सुनवाई हुई नहीं है. सो इन इफेक्ट वो कह रहे हैं जी हमारी सुनवाई हुई नहीं है, हमारा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमेंड नहीं हुआ है, तो हम इलेक्शंस कैसे होल्ड करें कीपिंग इन माइंड द ओल्ड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. तो वो स्टेलमेट को लेकर ये इनका किस्सा चले जा रहा है और ये किस्सा काफ़ी टाइम से चले जा रहा है एंड so much so that members of the All India Football Federation, member states, different people have now started raising their voice. In the latest AGM that happened in Mumbai, final of the under 17 World Cup, right, sir, D.Y. Patil, there were certain members who raised their voice saying, why are you not holding the elections? And to which Mr. Patel had said, form a three-member committee, and then they will look into it, and we'll try to get the elections held as soon as possible. लेकिन उस कमेटी का जितना भी सुनने को मिला है कि वो कमेटी उसके बाद ज़्यादा चली है नहीं। तो आज
नहीं,
इसी के बारे में बात।
committee, not the committee, but one of the members have already submitted his report yesterday.
Okay.
And as far as I know, this is again according to sources. I may be completely wrong also. That particular member has made some scathing attack on the AIFF, saying that everything has been done without following the rules. That's all.
Okay. So where do we stand?
Can you just give us some more details on that? When you say everything has been done without following the rules, what exactly is he pointing out?
Also, okay,
I will come to it.
उसके बाद में आता हूँ.
One by one, I will come to it.
मैं ये पूछ
what I mean to say in our course of conversation, that will be there.
Sir,
I don't have to specify one by one.
करंट बात की जो अभी चाबी मारी गई है स्पोर्ट्स मिनिस्ट्री द्वारा, राइट? मैं कह रहा हूँ टाइमिंग अभी क्यों हुई? ऐसा तो है नहीं कि आप तो जी काफी टाइम से बैठे हुए हो गद्दी पे जहाँ पे आपको नहीं होना चाहिए. तो isn't there something fishy about this timing? I just don't understand कि ये टाइमिंग, ये चाबी अभी क्यों मारी गई है? ये तो आपने एक पोक किया है, स्पोर्ट्स मिनिस्ट्री ने पोक मारा नहीं था.
See, I don't know. Some of the people, there are several people who feel the sports ministry has given this affidavit rather reluctantly. Sports ministry was asked to give their stance on the current AIFF because since they were a respondent of this petition, which was filed by Rahul Mehra against the AIFF for not following the sports code. Sports Ministry was asked by the Supreme Court by High Court on 23rd of October that you should give it within 6 months. Now it is April 8th when it was almost over. Then only the Sports Ministry came up with the affidavit, and Sports Ministry had no option but to say the AIFF is not following the rules, because if somebody doesn't follow government rules, and government, even if it turns a blind eye to it, while writing and giving it to the court, they have no other option but to say they are not following the rules. So how far willingly the sports ministry get this affidavit, I have my serious doubts. But they have given it, and they have very clearly said this federation, the current officials, has no mandate to be there. They are rather
beyond giving on record, beyond giving something on record. How does this change the balance in the game? Does this change the balance in the game, or is this just something that's gone on record and it remains as that?
See, when government says gives something on record, it does change the balance to an extent. It's a serious offense which government is saying that they are not following my rules. It says that everybody has to take note of it. But the change you are talking about, that whether Mr. Patel and his committee will step down, whether they will go for elections or not, what it will only happen if there is a hearing in the Supreme Court. Unfortunately, 14 months have passed. Supreme Court hasn't given a single hearing in this case.
And they don't need to give anyone an answer as to why it hasn't come up also.
No, and we cannot dare to ask a question also.
Exactly.
We have no right to ask such a question. We can only state the fact that 14 months it has not been given a hearing. At least 4 or 5 times it has been listed. I don't have the dates with me at the moment, but it has been listed 4 or 5 times. But each time it has been postponed for some reason or the other. Because of the pandemic time, because of the COVID, entire Supreme Court proceedings was going on virtual. So there were so many pending cases. It could be there were many cases which were much important than Indian football, which is 106 in FIFA. There are much more important cases were pending in.
Agreed.
That could be one of the reasons. But the fact remains that 14 months not a hearing has been given, and unless a hearing is given, the Supreme Court allows a hearing, nobody knows what is going on. Because AIFF will keep on saying that we are ready to go. हम तो झोला लेके खड़े हैं जाने के लिए, है ना?
हमारा तो पास हमारा पास तैयार है. Anyway, sorry, I'll just get you in. Just one last thing, sir. I'm quoting an article of Times of India, in which they said Patel has already served a 3-4-year terms, right? A fourth term would make him eligible to contest a spot in the FIFA Council. Elections to which are due in April 2023, which many AIFF insiders claim he is eyeing. Is there any truth to this? Or is this just speculation?
It is wholehearted. See, overall, the Times of India report is right. What Siddhartha has written is right. There is no doubt about it. But there is a thing that he doesn't need a fourth term. He only needs to remain there as the president, the way he is now remaining, by hook or crook, beg, borrow, or steal. The third option is the best, actually, in life. So let him be there like that. So see, he has to tell it. He will tell FIFA that my country has no problem. My members have no problem. I am continuing. And FIFA never interferes with the MA. MA means Member Association, unless there is a problem. Unless the government
does something.
Yeah. No, even if government does something, FIFA will not get into it. But the thing is that, but unless somebody complains, somebody has to make a complaint. What is happening in Zimbabwe or in Kenya or in Pakistan is different. But what is happening in India is different. And the way it has been again and again said, even 4 days ago, AIFF has tweeted saying that, FIFA will ban us.
Yes, I'm just getting to that.
I think that's a hoax, actually. FIFA will not ban you. Why should FIFA ban? FIFA can maximum do that. They will, if the court interferes and if the court puts an ombudsman or an administrator in the AIFF, then FIFA will step in. FIFA will form a normalization committee, which has been formed in Pakistan twice, and currently being, I think, in Zimbabwe and Kenya also, there is a normalization committee. The normalization committee will take over things, and normalization committee members will be only those who will not contest the next elections. So they will look after things within 2 months or 3 months. They will hold the elections. So there is no point in saying that FIFA will ban India. Nobody bans anyone at the drop of a hat. Just because this present committee will not be there, that means FIFA will ban India. Isn't it too much for the asking? What do you think? And another thing I would like to add, you have not asked me, but still I would like to add, when some people run something forcefully, मतलब कुछ भी करके चलाते हैं, it is better to ban them only, I think. Isn't it? There is nothing wrong if they are banned. It will be good to the game, I think.
Ani bhai, okay, big words coming in from sir. What is the lure of being in the FIFA Council? I'm just asking you that. What is the lure of being in a FIFA Council? A member of the FIFA Council?
Well, I mean,
beyond power. That's all.
Beyond power. No, I don't know that beyond power. I mean, power
if that is your end game, then why is that your end game? What are you gaining out of it?
Well, I mean, for whatever his personal reasons might be, I don't know the gentleman very well, but Mr. Praful Patel has chosen to be a sports administrator, and football is the biggest sport in the world. I think there's no question on that. And FIFA is the body that controls the biggest tournament in football. So having a position of, let's say, if you're on the FIFA Council or the committee, the executive committee, they make the most important decisions regarding the World Cup, where things will be hosted, how many teams will participate, and other such fundamental decisions. So I guess as a personal ambition for a sports administrator of any kind, being a part of these bodies, whether it's the International Olympic Committee or FIFA or whatever it might be, is I suppose it's a step up on your career ladder or your aspirational ladder or whatever the case might be. And it also allows you then to sit at the same table with some of the biggest decision makers in global football. So you then become a part of a system or a network that, like Jaideep was pointing out, India are not, in a footballing sense, we are not there. So the only way we can actually be at the same table with the big boys in football is through this route, as has been the case, over many decades with the Olympic Committee of India, for example. Even though we have won only a handful of medals at the Olympic Games, we are very vocal and very active on the political front. In fact, there's even been talk in the recent past of India at some point bidding to host the Olympic Games. So the ambitions of our sports administrators and the reality of our sporting landscape are two very different things. So perhaps that is one major reason why Mr. Patel wants to be on the FIFA Council. And also, I think if we, in the time that he's been president of the All India Football Federation, we've seen a widespread sort of set of changes come into the system. We've seen the privatization of the National League. It's now owned by a private entity and held as a separate private company.
Which has good and bad points.
I mean, you might see the good in it. I don't. Fair enough. We can disagree on that.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, good, bad. I'm not getting into even. I'm just saying these are the things that have happened, and the people to whom Indian football has been sold, what is very conveniently called the commercial partners, are good friends of the president and his
yeah, he's played a big part in bringing them in.
Yeah. Very much. I suppose, like before he came and sold Indian football after dismembering it, he did a very similar thing with Air India. So he has a history of getting involved with these things, and now that his friends are, controlling much of Indian sport, whether it's the IPL or it's the Olympic Association, basketball, kabaddi, football, all of these are increasingly being passed on to private ownership, private hands, with certain big companies playing a major role in the entire thing. So I think apart from whatever his personal ambitions as a sports administrator might be, I think being in these positions of power and decision making in sport allows people like him to do favors for their friends, which I think is a very.
I don't understand, sir. If you okay, let's forget that वो गद्दी पे बैठे हुए हैं. Let's forget कि वेलक्रो लगा हुआ है वहाँ पे और वो उठ नहीं रहा है. चलो ठीक है. कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट की सुनवाई आएगी नहीं आएगी वो तो अपने हाथ में है नहीं. वो तो खुदा के हाथ में है जब आएगी.
Yeah, just on this Supreme Court point, if I can very quickly say, like the AIFF tweeted a couple of days ago, that
and quite on point, Patak. As soon as Sir's article came, tuck tweets आ गए.
सारे responses आ गए. But one of the things that they let on in that series of tweets was that they suo moto approached the Supreme Court for this whole ratification of the new constitution and show us the way forward, because we are your humble students and we are looking for the path to enlightenment, etc., etc. Now, the All India Football Federation, the Supreme Court really has no requirement to get involved in this matter at all. This entire tactic
if you want to amend your constitution, you don't need the Supreme Court. You don't have to go to a higher authority.
You have nothing to do with the Supreme Court.
See,
Supreme Court is the Supreme Court of India, and is the court of, they make judgments of precedent on legal matters, constitutional matters, etc., etc. If your argument is that the government is interfering in the operation of sport and therefore FIFA will ban you, why are you then going to the government and approaching them to ask the government's comment? What is your objective in doing this? On the one hand, you are saying अगर कोर्ट कुछ बोलेगा हमें, या अगर मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ यूथ अफेयर्स एंड स्पोर्ट्स कुछ हमें बोलेगा, तो हमें डरना पड़ेगा, फीफा से फीफा का बैन मिलेगा. एक साइड पे तो आप ये बात कर रहे हैं. दूसरा, आप सुओ मोटो कह रहे हैं कि अपने मन से मैंने डॉक्यूमेंट लिखा और मैं अपने मन से चला गया सुप्रीम कोर्ट के दरवाजे पे कि प्लीज सर जी, योर ऑनर, माय लॉर्ड, प्लीज ratify my constitution. Now the Supreme Court of
भाई
India,
जोन में, भाई जोन.
Can I explain it in a very simple manner, Siddhant? If you give me 5 minutes,
please,
will you? Please. देखो, आप look at the things the way the one by one. हाँ, क्या बोलते हैं हमको? Bullet points. है ना?
PPT.
Bullet points. 2017, the what do you call? Rahul Mehra approached the High Court against the AIFF for not following the sports code during the 2016 December elections, when Mr. Patel was elected unanimously for the third term. Okay, 2017. Now this is the first point. Then High Court set aside Mr. Patel's election. The very next day, AIFF approached the Supreme Court. Supreme Court put him back on the elections, put him back on his chair, saying, but instead Supreme Court appointed a committee of ombudsmen, Mr. S.Y. Qureshi, former Chief Election Commissioner, yes, and our very good friend, former India captain, Bhaskar Ganguly, our very near and dear friend. Those two were appointed to look into the AIFF constitution, whether sports codes has been violated in certain places, and if they are being violated, in case, then amend the constitution and put whatever the sports code has to say. Simple enough. They were given 8 weeks or 10 weeks, which they could not fulfill. But the thing is that never in the order of the Supreme Court it was said that AIFF will not be able to hold these elections. 2017 it was done. 20 December this next election was scheduled. AIFF sat on it for 4 years, and they approached the Supreme Court in November 2020, just 1 month before the election, saying that our constitution has not been finalized by you, so we cannot hold the elections. So please advise us what to be done, whether we will hold it through the new constitution or old constitution. But the question is, which Mr. N.A. Harris, the KSFA president, the president of the Karnataka. I'm coming back to what Siddhant has asked initially. Karnataka State Football Association. He, in the 3-member committee meeting, he had asked categorically. He had asked that where in the order it has been said that election cannot be held. Is there anywhere written in the Supreme Court order? And the lawyers of the, as far my knowledge goes, the lawyers of the AIFF said no, directly it has not been written, but indirectly it has been indicated. Then he said, what do you mean by indirectly?
Directly फिल्म बन गई ये तो.
हाँ, तो आप इलेक्शन करा क्यों नहीं रहे हो? आप you are assuming that we cannot hold election. I can see this is a complete, what I say, if I use the word hoax, it's very undemocratic it will be. But I cannot find a better one. My vocabulary as it is limited.
One would call it hoax. Someone would call it well played.
Well played. Okay, well played. Well left.
Game चल रही है.
Well left. Khala hobe. जिसको which Mamata Banerjee said. Khala hobe. Let me tell you one thing. In 2020 December, let me read it out. In the general body meeting of the AIFF, annual general body meeting of the AIFF. Here is this is the minutes of the AIFF meetings, okay, in which it has been said, it has been clearly said about what Mr. Patel said. Further, he apprised. He clearly said in it that there will be that AIFF will not be able to hold the elections because the ombudsman, Mr. Ganguly and Mr. Qureshi have not submitted their report. it is a, what do I say? It's a blatant lie. When in January 2020, here is the Mr. Qureshi's report. Mr. Qureshi has clearly said that he is submitting the report. Of course, he couldn't submit the report in
the time he was given.
He needed enlargement. He asked for enlargement of time, but he has cited many reasons why he could not give it, because of his personal problem, because he was in London or Nigeria or so many places and the members were not present and whatever. But so he wants the enlargement of time, but he has taken long time to, now he is submitting his report. In January 2020, he said he is submitting his report, and in December 2020, the president is informing the members in the AGM that Mr. Qureshi has not submitted his report. How do you look at it? To tell me,
सर मैं एक बात समझ में नहीं आ रही. मिनट्स आपके पास हैं, आपने ये बोला वो बोला, मतलब आपके पास है तो मतलब अंदर जो फेडरेशन वाले हैं उनके पास सब कुछ है, राइट?
और वही तो दिया है मेरे को, मैं कहां से मिला है मुझे?
मैं वही कह रहा हूँ, वही तो मैं कह रहा हूँ. What I'm trying to come at is that if you are part of an organization and you are disgruntled that someone is overstaying his stay through unlawful means, or he's used a loophole or whatever it might be, and you know that ये टाइम फलाना चल रहा है, why is no one taking him on?
People have started taking him. People have started taking him
after on. 2 years. After 2 years,
of course, because see what happened in November 2020 when he wrote this letter. When he wrote this letter to the members that why the election cannot be held, and for the reason AIFF has approached the Supreme Court. Then 22 members wrote to Federation. 22 members. At least 18 letters I have in my laptop. 22 members wrote to the Federation saying that please hold the elections. But they were told, they were somehow they were managed by the Federation officials and said that it will not be possible now. So whatever. So they kept quiet for 1 year. But in February this year, when the next AGM was held, some people raised their voices. Karnataka raised their voice, Odisha raised their voice, Delhi raised their voice. There are other members who raised their voice. They did say, you can say that nobody has filed an official complaint with the ministry, or yes, or nobody has taken the legal route. That is for the simple reason, you can say they should do it, but at the same time, some of the members feel that going to the court or going to the ministry, it will decisively divide the federation. But the problem is, if some of the members who are of lesser, who could be called as lesser mortals, if they have this thinking, the bigger bosses don't have. In the 85-year-old history of the AIFF, this has never happened. For somebody's personal benefit, the federation is being destroyed. This federation has got presidents like Pankaj Gupta, M. Dattare, Khalifa Ziauddin, secretaries like Ashok Ghosh, president like Mr. Priyaranjan Das Munshi, but none of them ever overstayed their terms. Not since 1937 till 2020, 83 years, all the elections of the federations were held in time. A group of people for their own benefit, only 2 or 3 people for their own benefits. I don't like to name them. Unfortunately, previously I thought fortunately, but now I think unfortunately I know all of them personally. But
sir,
what they are doing to the federation, they are actually doing a great harm to Indian football.
सर आपसे एक
सिद्धांत, ये अर्जुन एक चीज देखो, we should be talking about Mumbai City's win. We should be talking about Mohan Bagan's win, isn't it? Instead, we have been forced to talk about something which is so negative.
My point is, has it been that bad a tenure? I don't think it's as bad a tenure as we're making it out to be.
Who's tenure?
Mr. Patel's tenure.
If you ask me,
yeah, bhai,
I
नहीं,
don't know why. वो तो their personal बात होगी ना. फिर everyone can have their subjective view on whether he's been a good president or not.
I have been watching Federation for last 40 years. My personal view is he will go down in the history as the worst ever president of AIFF.
Why, sir? I mean, but when you take into account his tenure as president, that is one side that you're overstaying, you're trying means and whatever to stay. That is one part of it. There are other parts also. You got a lot of funding. You got one of the biggest, the houses into Indian football. You got the kind of money into the game which was never even thought of before this. For whatever you might call hosting these tournaments, you managed to make teams play there. The level of the game now to attribute it to the national team, I think, is unfair. The president घटिया है तो यार ये national team में गंदा
I'm
करते
not
तो Praful
attributing.
Patel है.
No,
I'm saying that's what most people are saying. But I'm just saying कि there are those points as well, and I'm sure those points will be remembered as well, because before that.
No, we don't have a choice but to remember
it. But can I talk about the other side of the story? Can I talk about the other side of the? See, during his time, most of the tournaments have been closed down in the last 12 years. During his time, India's domestic football structure has been mostly destroyed. During his time, he is the president of the FIFA from 1993. And in 1999, the Rovers Cup has been closed. It is now 23 years the Rovers Cup has not been played. He's also the president of the Western India Football Association. It is his duty.
I know that.
During his time, what you said, the domestic structure has been completely destroyed. That is
कितना बार हमने बात की है भाई कि 15 साल पहले लोग एक सीजन में डोमेस्टिकली 40 गेम 50 गेम खेलने को मिलता था. अब मुश्किल से लड़कों को
funding it's a harsh reality. Funding.
क्या funding?
The kind of money that's come into the game.
क्या funding?
You can't deny that. You can't deny that. Would you have envisioned a Mumbai winning, however they may have played versus Air Force? Air Force were the better team throughout those 90 minutes. Would you have ever envisioned a Mumbai going and winning?
Air Force is one of the.
Would you have ever envisioned a City football group coming in and investing into a team in Mumbai?
Of course, why not? Why people with capital always invest where they have opportunities to make money, and when you get something for cheap, of course people will invest. I don't understand why you think it's a big deal.
Firstly, I'm saying if the old system was there, I'm saying you still had all of this. I'm just asking you simple.
I'm not talking about old system. There could have been a mixture of both. How come that the players who are playing 70 matches, 60 matches a year now have come down to 20 matches? What the president and his committee is doing about it? Nothing. You are talking about international tournament. Let me talk about it. Asian women's, we just held it, isn't it? Asian women with so much of soshabaji. Kya bada tournament hai? Won't happen. Mr. Patel and his committee has brought it to India. Go to our IWL, which has just started in Bhubaneswar. See what is happening there. The players has been put into an hostel, in a bio bubble, where there is no TV in the room. The food is bad.
TV will show, their players are putting out
Let me finish. Only the budget has been given only 650 rupees per player in that tournament. This is the way you promote Indian women's football. Actually, you are promoting yourself through one tournament.
The other side is that you're also showing it on television. Whatever it might be, however you may have done it, it's coming on television. It's not a given that it has to. भाई देखो आप जैसे भी किया कैसे भी किया आप दिखा तो रहे हो है कि नहीं
भाई देख तो पहले भी रहा था आई लीग भी दिखता था टीवी पे
ना भाई
ना क्या हुआ
अभी भी टीवी पे दिखता है टाई लीग तो अभी भी टीवी पे दिखता है मेरे भाई
हटा दिखता है आई लीग तो टीवी में है
ये देखो ऐसा एक ही फेडरेशन होगा दुनिया में जिन्होंने अपना प्रॉपर्टी को लेके अपने प्रॉपर्टी को खुद सैबोटाज किया है ताकि किसी और का नया प्रॉपर्टी आके उसके ऊपर आ जाए ये कभी
AIFF is now one day will be hand in glove with BSNL. यार BSNL को जो बना है AIFF को भी वही बनेगा.
I don't know, sir. I'm saying, okay, for whatever bad that you might think of this federation and whatever the domestic structure might have become, I think there is still a lot of good that's been done.
So anybody
you might not view it as good.
No, anybody who has done good has no right to overstay.
No, that is different.
just
I am
just
saying when you're
no,
looking
that
back
is
at
not
Mr.
different.
Patel's.
That is not
No,
different.
sir.
That is
क्या
not
हुआ है
I
भाई?
different.
agree. भाई
If you look at good,
भाई मैं
कौन सा इंडियन क्लब टीम एशियन लेवल पे अच्छा कर रही है? नेशनल टीम कोई प्लेयर
And
बाहर गया है खेलने,
if I
नेशनल टीम की
say,
रैंकिंग में कोई फर्क हुआ है? 15 साल हो गए हैं. I'm not saying 1 year or 2 years, right? It's been 12 years in the making. What
भाई
positive impact have you had?
आप लड़कों को पूछो, आप अपने खिलाड़ियों को पूछो. आपका रणवीर सिंह आता है शो
भाई
पे,
जिनके पास
वो
पहले
हर बारी आके बोलता है कि आप देखो द लेवल ऑफ कोचिंग दे गेटिंग, द लेवल ऑफ फुटबॉल दे प्लेइंग इज बिकम अ लॉट बेटर.
I don't think has
Now
it
it's
become
subjective,
better?
again subjective, but you might not agree, I might not agree, but
We are
Renedy is saying
watching the game.
Renedy's been there, done that.
No, Renedy is saying what? What is he saying? Is he saying that the coaches are of an extremely high standard? I don't think so. Maybe a couple of coaches who come in are, sure, but not all of the coaches.
The way the players are being looked after.
What Renedy and
I personally think everybody has an axe to grind. That is the reason.
You have a scenario where before, let's say these guys had absolutely nothing. You go and give them nice hotel rooms and decent food to eat. The players are happy with just that much. It's not any great progress that has been made.
Absolutely.
And the results of the national team as well as the clubs, the kind of football that we are getting to watch day in, day out on television or in stadiums, that clearly reflects the lack of any kind of progress.
Overall, I think anybody who misuses his position and overstays in his or her position, only primarily because of that, I say that he will go down as the worst ever president.
And if he
misused his position, he has no right to be there.
If he is a good administrator, if he has the interest of the federations at heart, if he has spent the last 10 years, 12 years building a proper structure and a proper organization, then surely he must have this in his mind that after his 3 terms are over, this will be the next person who will take over from him and take it forward. Shouldn't that be the approach to building a federation over a long term, any organization over a long term? It should.
Which I was actually coming to that only. I am saying if someone has to stand up, is there someone?
There will be people. I know people are planning, but I can't at the moment talk for them. But privately, a lot of people are telling me that they are planning. This cannot go on forever.
I honestly think the best answer to it is
somebody's lawyers has told him
completely and just make or appoint or nominate Mrs. Neeta Ambani as the de facto president of All India Football Federation, and let's be done with it. Let's put an end to this conversation forever.
That I cannot say, but at the same time, this cannot go on. Just because somebody's lawyer has told him that we will pull you through for another 2 years, some way or the other, that means that it is an institution you are destroying, actually. He's destroying the institution. What you say about a president who or an office bearer who destroys his own institution? What do you say about him? Isn't it?
They might look at it in a very different. They might look at it in a very different way. That for so many years you've been working on a certain project in a certain way, the I League, the NFL, whatever it might be, and your several tournaments that happen. But at that time, I'm saying pre-ISL, all of this, conversations were strife then also. हम लोग सब involved थे कि यार ये क्या हो रहा है, कुछ growth नहीं हो रही, कैसे बढ़ेंगे, हम क्या football खेलते हैं, कोई देखना नहीं चाहता, right? So conversations were happening then also कि something needed to be changed.
But that has gone to the backstage now. Now the thing is that
has gone.
Unlawful people are occupying the position. That's all.
But my point is someone has come in and brought.
Unlawfully.
But Indian football's biggest problem.
Even if
I'm saying Indian football's biggest problem Indian football's was I'm just saying was that चल रहा है कुछ बदलेगा नहीं आया कुछ बदला है अब आपको पसंद नहीं आया आपने कैसे बदला है पर आपने बदला है राइट जो आदमी बदलने की क्षमता रखता है एंड मैं नहीं कह रहा कि एक बंदा है जो क्षमता रखता है बदलने की उसको कहीं ना कहीं आपको कदर भी करनी चाहिए अब आपको पसंद ना आया हो आपको जैसे भी आया हो बदलने की क्षमता भी तो होनी चाहिए आपका इतने टाइम से ठक ठक चले जा रहा है जी चले जा रहा है कुछ नहीं बदल रहा था
कदर तो किया गया
पूरा बदल गया ना वो तो पूरा बदल गया
हाँ कदर तो किया गया अप टू 21st of December 2020 उनको कदर करना था, पूरा कर लिया गया। उसके बाद 15 महीना कहां से कदर करे? मैंडेट क्या है? कहां से बैठ गया है आके? कौन है?
और भाई पूरा क्रेडिट दे रहे हैं हम मिस्टर पटेल को, ऐसा नहीं है।
All his credit is restricted between 2008 and 2020. That's all.
And yeah,
beyond that there is no credit.
अगर like I mean I don't own a house, but अगर मेरे पास घर होता और मैं उस घर को बेच देता किसी को कम भाव पे, फ्री में दे देता किसी को, तो मैं क्रेडिट लेता उसका पक्का। I think in the same way।
एक बात आपसे पूछूं मैं, आपसे अगर आप गद्दी पे बैठे हैं, आप गद्दी पे उस टाइम बैठे होते हैं, आपसे बोला जाता है जी इंडियन फुटबॉल को बदलने के लिए ये एक तरीका है, ये एक आइडिया है और ये लोग आके बदलना चाहते हैं, सिंपल। हाँ। आप क्या कहते हैं? आप बोलते हैं कि नहीं
भाई मैंने और जयदीप दा ने तो 2010 में जब ये लोग आ रहे थे, ये सारे प्लान जब बना रहे थे, उस टाइम हमारी भी थोड़ी कदर होती थी, हमें भी बुलाते थे होटल के कमरे में बात करने, हमारा ओपिनियन पूछने बुलाते थे उस टाइम। और हम उसी टाइम से, तब से हम वही ओपिनियन दे रहे हैं जो आज दे रहे हैं कि आपका जो प्लान है, प्लान इज फंडामेंटली फ्लॉड एंड द प्लान इज नॉट फोकस्ड ऑन डेवलपिंग द स्पोर्ट इन द कंट्री ऑफ इंडिया. The plan is focused simply on creating private properties, making profit for certain private organizations, and that's about it. That is all that has changed in the last 10 or 12 years since Praful Patel has been president of the All India Football Federation. Nothing else. Yeah, and that includes, yes, to some extent, the positive that you are seeing, that 30 or 40 or 50 Indian players are now making a very decent living.
More than decent living they are making.
Yeah,
that's fine.
that's fine. बहुत अच्छा पैसा बना रहे हैं, अच्छी बात है। आधे बेंच पे बैठे हुए हैं, पर उसकी तो बात कभी और कर लेंगे। बट बेंच पे बैठने की आपको अच्छे खासे पैसे मिल रहे हैं, तो वो भी ठीक है, राइट? एटलीस्ट दे गेट टू लिव अ डिग्निफाइड लाइफ. That is the one small thing, and they have to do at least that much, right? Because if you don't have the players on board, then this kind of nonsense you will never be able to get away with.
ठीक है, okay, fine, fair. I was actually, so basically what I was doing was, it can't just be the three people are pounding on one thing. It's not a conversation. You've got to balance the plane out a little bit. You have to balance it out a bit. And whether I agree or not, disagree with Jaideep sir or Siddhant, I won't put that out there. But the points that I put out, I kind of agree with them. Ki yaar, you needed a lot of funding, and all those things were also things that were always discussed pre-ISL. Kab aayega, kaise aayega? And ye sab aaya hai. Now, to call him the worst manager or not, I don't know. I won't say that. Sir is saying sir is someone who has a lot of weight in this game. So I respect what he's saying, and it's a big word that he's saying. Worst president ever.
This opinion I have formed in the last 15 months. That's all.
Purely because of the overstaying.
Of course, you cannot do it. You cannot do it. This is unlawful occupation. He's occupying it most unlawfully. That's all. Anybody can explain it anyway, but it remains the truth remains the same. And there could be better people on the line who could bring more money.
Are there people?
Yeah.
I'm saying, are there people? Are there people?
Why? There may be. Unless you allow someone to come, how do you know about it? Just because one president knows some Mumbai businessman, that doesn't mean others are fool.
But the commercial partners are not going anywhere. So the truth is this, that you need someone the commercial partners get on with.
Not going.
You might like it or not.
No. Federation thing cannot be dictated by the commercial partners.
Yeah,
agreed. I'm not saying they're dictated
the job
on
of the
paper.
Federation is to make sure that the commercial partners do their job to grow the game.
They're doing it. There is an agreement. They will do accordingly. Even the new people will come, will honor that agreement. They will have to honor that agreement.
I think the bigger part of this story also is that in 2025, that agreement that Jaideep was talking about, the master rights agreement between what was then, what is now FSDL, it was something else at that time. In 2025,
600 odd CR it went for the first 10 years, right?
Yeah.
700 odd CR.
15
so they're saying, they're assuming it'll go up to 2,000 now, whenever the next one happens.
But there should be a tender. These things should come up. I mean, multiple people should be allowed to bid for it. It should not be an affair that happens behind closed doors, where only one party submits an interest and they take it, irrespective of anything else. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. As it is, you've created a system where now there's no, if you look at football revenues across the world, since you're talking so much about funding and how clubs, etc., sustain themselves, other than gate receipts and merchandise, television revenue is a major part of how clubs earn revenue, right? Now, if you have your top league, top flight league, which is also the only league that is being broadcast on television, the owners, the broadcasters are also co-owners of that.
I get where I get where you're coming from. अब वो उनका चैनल खुल रहा है, वो वहाँ चले जाएगा, तो आप टेलीविजन राइट्स तो भूल जाओ आप अभी, टेलीविजन राइट्स तो भूल ही जाओ.
You look at the example of the board of control for cricket in India and how they have made themselves into the richest sporting board in the world, probably, right? Most of that money has come through either television revenue or digital revenue, digital rights. है ना?
चलो अब बताओ. हाँ.
No, I get what you're saying, bhai. But see, I'll tell you what. The reality is this. आप जो BCCI की बात कर रहे हो, it has takers, right? It has several takers willing to put that buck in. cut. Indian football के कितने takers हैं भाई?
भाई हमारे
मेरे को सच बताओ. ये मेरे को नहीं ये झंडे निकाल के बोलने के लिए नहीं. हमारा देश, हमारा ये ना सच देखो बोलो. मेरे को बताओ.
400-500
जिस किस्म की
जो भी 300-400 लोग देख रहे हैं,
जिस किस्म की आप इन्वेस्टमेंट सोच रहे हो, जिस किस्म की आप इन्वेस्टमेंट सोच रहे हो, वैसी इन्वेस्टमेंट करने वाले कितने लोग हैं? मैं तो ये पूछ रहा हूँ. मैं नहीं कह रहा सिर्फ एक आदमी कर सकता है, पर ऐसी इन्वेस्टमेंट करने वाले कितने लोग हैं?
किस किस्म की इन्वेस्टमेंट?
I'm telling you the numbers, that kind of number.
भाई 50 करोड़ 100 करोड़ साल की बात हो रही है. इसमें कोई you are saying that in a country like India with
that was then bhai. That was then. You're coming to the end of the tenure period, so clearly that will go up a little bit.
15 years.
अभी तो 25 तक है. अभी तो
25 तक है.
25, so we're near it only. मतलब 3 साल में तो आ गया. मतलब 12 साल हो गए.
मतलब 50 करोड़ पर एनाम देने वाले है कितने आप पूछ रहे हो? होगा कुछ.
That's a steal.
Maybe ढूंढना पड़ेगा. I don't know. Frankly speaking, I don't know.
हजारों करोड़ की बात नहीं हो रही है भाई. और मतलब वो इन्वेस्टमेंट जा कहाँ रहा है ये भी पूछो ना. Like how much of that investment is going back into the sport, and how much investment just goes back into the various companies that are involved in organizing these tournaments, or perhaps all owned by the same company under the same umbrella.
And even if those they are giving their
to themselves only. And what is investment? What are we even? I mean, what are we talking? And if you're saying, "Chalo, massive investment has even been made in the sport," then where does it show? Where are the games for players across age groups? Where are the games for women? What is the sort of results and standing of the national teams? I mean, investment to what end? You pay the top players in the country to keep their mouth shut and make sure that like जिसका नमक खाया उस पे थूकेगा नहीं थाली में, right? So you do that, but beyond that, what investment is actually going into the sport? I really don't know. Yes, okay, no doubt, Reliance has built a fantastic facility in Mumbai, where some of the best infrastructure that anywhere in the world perhaps you can access for training and all of that. How many kids are being able to access those kind of facilities? How is the sort of coach education system being encouraged? I mean, where are local clubs? I mean, you are on the one hand, you are fighting to keep this league as exclusive as possible. You're saying in a country of 1.5 billion people almost, you only have 10 or 11 clubs that are able to and willing to play in the top tier. I mean, किसका बना रहे हैं और क्यों बना रहे हैं ये मुझे भी समझ में नहीं आया, but बनाने की तो कोशिश कर ही रहे हैं.
But all these things doesn't justify the stalling of elections.
Yeah.
that is the only thing. हम इतने अच्छे काम कर रहे हैं कि हम अगले 4 बार इलेक्शन ही नहीं करेंगे, हम ही करते जाएंगे.
वो तो आप वो मैं समझ गया. Stalling तो ठीक है. I understand where you're coming from. I'm just going to I think we've done close to about 50 minutes. 10 मिनट और हैं हमारे पास, क्योंकि हम आजकल कट टू कट 1 घंटे वाले बंदे बन गए. वे फॉरवर्ड सर, वे फॉरवर्ड. जब तक आपको सुनवाई नहीं मिलती सुप्रीम कोर्ट से, ये हम तो एक और शो मार देंगे, फिर ऐसे ही चलता रहेगा.
मेरे ख्याल से ऐसे ही चलते रहेगा, because the people are desperate and people want to be there. As I said, a handful
No,
of
so
people.
push comes to shove, nahi hoga. Legal something from the members. Nothing's going to happen.
I'm sure they have very good lawyers. They can keep stalling for as long as they want.
Yes, that is their main strength. Otherwise, how do you spend 3 crores on legal matters? I have the copy of the AIFF audit report. 3 crores for on legal matters, and not even 1 crore on under 16 tournament. What are you talking about? I don't know how much, but it is less than 3 crores actually. So that is the
less
strength.
than 3. Yeah.
Yeah, less than 3. It should be less than 3. And that is the strength. Legal matters is the strength. But it can only be solved by FIFA. I don't like
FIFA तो उनका दोस्त है, वो तो टूर्नामेंट दिए जा रहे हैं उनको दिन ब दिन, हर दिन वो तो टूर्नामेंट तो मिल ही रहा है उनको.
वो तो ठीक है. FIFA will not act unless somebody from India, within India, complains. Why should FIFA get into it? अगर घर में मार पिटाई हो रहा है, किसी ने कंप्लेन किया, तो फिर FIFA will act. Otherwise, why should they interfere in a member association's affairs? And I don't like Supreme Court getting into it. If you ask me, I don't like Supreme Court getting into it.
Yeah,
at the maximum, Supreme Court should say that hold your election according to the old constitution till the new constitution comes. Hold your election in the next 2 months. That would be the best thing if Supreme Court says.
See, because we have multiple examples in India of these kind of political things happening, and therefore federations going into legal battles and bans happening. For example, I think Shiva Keshavan's last Olympic Games, Winter Olympics, the Indian Olympic Association at that time was banned. So he was actually not competing under the Indian flag. He was competing as a, whatever.
The problem is people don't want to go to Supreme Court because that will be taken as an excuse. One case by Rahul Mehra has been taken an excuse to postpone the election for 15 months.
15 months, yeah.
So till now, 15 months. It will be, I don't know how many months it will be. And if another person goes from wherever he is, then what will happen?
Also, we like we saw in the case of the BCCI with the Lodha committee being set up, that massive investigation took place. All of that happened. They appointed administrators, and nothing changed as far as the governance or the running of the BCCI was concerned, or any of that. So, going to the Supreme Court and expecting them to kind of sort out your house is a very tall ask. And I have to say that, I'm not for government interference in sporting bodies as such at all. I think these bodies are meant to be autonomous. They are meant to be sort of
independent in their actions,
independently and not pressured by the government, and it should remain that way. So this suo moto stuff that the AIFF is doing of going to the Supreme Court and all, I think they should stop with all that. They should suo moto find the will to hold elections and carry on.
वैसे रिस्पेक्ट टू राहुल मेहरा, चैट पे एक बंदे ने लिखा है, मेहरा साहब सब फेडरेशन के पीछे हैं. भाई उन जैसे बंदे हैं, वो लगे रहते हैं वहां पे उनके पीछे, तो you got to give it to him because मुझे याद है.
अच्छा, one more person has gone to court on the same case. That is Minerva owner Mr. Ranjit Bajaj. He has filed a case 2-3 days ago against the federation on the same for stalling the elections. But this is the part of that same case only. It has been another application in the same case. So
मतलब फिर मिलेंगे 2 महीने बाद हम लोग आपको,
जो भी है, whatever that we cannot say what Supreme Court will do. We cannot say.
नहीं, मैं कह रहा हूँ फिर मिलेंगे 2 महीने बाद. यही कहानी होगी कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अभी तक अर्जी दी नहीं है, तो फिर हम
चले जा रहे तो पता चला उससे पहले उठवा ही लिए.
ठीक है जी, ठीक है. Anything else, gentlemen, would you like to add on this chat? Otherwise we'll call it a day, or call it a night, in fact. And don't think
only thing is that football should go on. Whatever little bit of Indian football is going, whatever little bit is going on, let it go on. That's the thing.
It will go on.
And yesterday, like a very eventful match between Mohun Bagan and Blue Star of Sri Lanka, not because of the game, but there were
because of what was happening.
Because they were. I am getting one after one. I got photos. that people are demonstrating against ATK, saying the name should be removed. Even there was a poster saying that we are your supporters, we are not your customers. There is a photo has come. So all these things is happening. People are raising voice against corporatization of football, or too much of corporatization of football. People are that is one of the positive thing I feel. Nothing might happen.
Yeah.
We can be very we can talk in a very negative manner.
But if someone is investing close to 50-60 crore in your, has decided to invest 50-60 CR in your club, and so on, I think there is a merit to it also. There is merit to it that you're doing it, and then you can probably use it to sort of grow the club even more than what it used to be.
Nobody's stopping them from growing the club. They said that
I know it's after the name, but the
name, yeah. Because lots of people have spent lot more money in football in world over, but they have not put their names in front of their club. The Manchester United is not Glazier Manchester United, na? Is it so? No. No. Barcelona was never the what do you call that air company? What is that airlines company? They were not that.
So, or if you look at currently, I mean, again, I'm not at all in any way a supporter of this big money in football by any stretch. But if you look at the City Football Group, for example, they have taken from Manchester City, they've taken the city, and they've built their entire company name based on whatever they found in terms of the heritage of Manchester City Football Club, and applied that to then their company and its wider network around the world now that they've built. So this approach naming seems very confused to me. Yeah.
That way, ISL has a good rule also. ISL rule is fine, that no company's name can be put in front of the club. ISL has a very clear-cut rule also in this, which you cannot do. That is whatever. Little good point I can see. East Bengal, no, SC East Bengal they have parted company day for yesterday.
They've parted company, yes.
Company day for yesterday. East Bengal is now looking for a new sponsor who could be booted out after 1 year, I think.
Sir, वहाँ पे तो सुनने में मिल रहा है कि a lot of boys have not been paid.
Yeah, eight,
and big amount of money.
No, that's a not सुनने के मिला 8 या 9 आदमी को तो एक ट्रांसफर बैन तो ऑलरेडी हो चुका है और एक ट्रांसफर बैन मिल जाएगा इस बंगाल को. 8 or 9 players have not been paid, but that is a point between East Bengal is saying Sri Cement should pay and Sri Cement is saying that East Bengal
वही हो रहा है ना.
जो भी है कुछ पहले नहीं उसमें I think Sri Cement is right, because these players when they were signed by East Bengal. Why should the Sri Cement pay for them? Isn't it? Why should the company lose his money?
I think moral of the story is Indian football. There's never a dull day, and there's always something to talk about. भाई बहुत कुछ है बात करने के लिए. अगर आपको इंडियन फुटबॉल आज के लिए हो गया भाई, नहीं आ गए 59 पे आ गए, 60 पे हम slowly खत्म कर देंगे. टाइम वाले बंदे हम. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this chat. And as far as you guys talking about Mumbai, we'll wait for Mumbai's third game to take place. And then we'll talk about not just what happened in the third game, but we'll talk about the 3 games and give you a wholish perspective, right? And of course, we're going to talk about historic 2-1 and so on and so forth. Yes, credit to them. But we'll look back and we'll say in terms of gameplay, did they dominate? Did you see something different from an Indian team amongst some of the best teams in Asia? And we'll talk about it after that third game. तो उसके लिए हमारे साथ जुड़े रहिएगा. साथ ही साथ IWL शुरू होने वाला है. हमारा भाई उस गाड़ी पे लग गया है. IWL टीवी पे भी आएगा, तो ऐसा है नहीं कि मैच देख नहीं पाएंगे. टीवी पे देखेंगे थोड़ा और उसके बारे में बातचीत करेंगे. I don't know how much regularly or something, but Siddhant and I'll probably come out with a plan and try doing a couple of shows at least on the IWL. And रही बात नेशनल टीम की, सर फ्रेंडलीज हो रहे हैं अप्रैल में.
सुनने में आया तो होगा. हाँ, ये मिला था, देखते हैं क्या होता है. अभी तो कितना ये कब when the camp is starting? Any idea? 21st?
No idea.
Yeah, this month, end of this month. Third week of this month. I have forgotten the date. End of this month they're starting. They will slowly get their players also, because players will also be busy in AFC Cup and all this thing. But it's all right. And most important, of course, it is no more important to federation. The Santosh Trophy is beginning in
yes.
Kerala.
tomorrow.
And there's that company
Tomorrow.
that's putting it online. There's a
And
company that broadcasts it online.
our man Leslie will be there, so we can get some good
Oh,
reports.
he's
from
going for the
IPL.
Santosh Trophy.
He's
He's in
already
Kerala right now, so he can.
अच्छा,
He's covering.
he's in
भाई साहब,
Ernakulam at the moment.
पहला संतोष ट्रॉफी मैंने खेला था केरला में। ओहो
कहाँ?
जो
कौन
पिटाई
कौन
हुई
सा
थी
कौन सा?
तिरुवनंतपुरम में
ओह अच्छा, हाँ,
खेलने गए थे।
ओह,
ओहो तब पता चल गया दिल्ली फुटबॉल की लेवल क्या है। वापस आए हम आराम से ट्रेन पकड़ के वापस आए थे। बट गाइस, नाइस कॉन्वर्सेशन एज ऑलवेज। वी होप यू एंजॉयड वाचिंग दिस कॉन्वर्सेशन पीपल।
And
एंड
but
वी ऑफ कोर्स
Delhi won a Santosh Trophy in 1944, the only time Delhi won. At least you can do a
बस
talk show on that.
Yeah.
It was
And
a unique, and the Delhi was led by a person who later, 4 years later, went on to become the Pakistan's first captain. Osman Jan, who was the goalkeeper.
Usman
He was
Jan, yeah.
He was Delhi captain in the Santosh Trophy, which Delhi won.
I was
4
going to
years
say.
later,
I was going to say also Pushpinder Kundu was in that squad even.
no, you don't know. You never know. You never know.
वहां भी पहुंच गया कुंडू भाई। ठीक है डन नाइस कॉन्वर्सेशन गाइस। Thank you so much for taking our time, and now we will of course see all of you after Mumbai City's third game in the AFC Champions League. This was another episode of 420 grams. Spread the show, tell as many people, because I fail to believe that only 250 people can join us for a show. Let's try taking it to 500 at least. Let's from 500 try going to 1,000, because बहुत सारे लोग हैं भाई, and we're still not touching a lot of people. So try spreading it to as many people. Tell them there's a show that talks Indian football on a regular basis. Hindi, English, जो उनके मन में आता है वो बात कर लेते हैं। तो आइए, जुड़िए, देखिए और आनंद लीजिए इन conversations का। Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.